definitely the one to watch for Gangsters. A significantly powerful duelist. And this is the interesting thing too, because Mary versus Clara, that's what I want to be watching. I want to be seeing these kind of, 1v1 showdowns between the two of them. But at the same time, there are players like Spadoka who are just such a strong backbone for the side of Chatband here. I am very curious to see how especially of these pushes. I mean, so far it looks like they're going for a direct A push as a full stack. So that's certainly an aggressive entrance into this map, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, putting the full commit in. We do see Spadoka there is immediately ready with the wall to stop and allow time for the rest of the team to be coming. Looks like Spadoka's going to have to manage by themselves for a little while. No, Mary's on the top, goes down straight away. Not a strong start for Mary in this, but they've got to deal with all of the gangsters at once.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the rest of the team now have to rotate, but the spike is already being planted. Perfect rush strategy there coming through from Gangsters. And again, taking out Spadoka and Mary almost instantaneously as they were the only two holding site. Very difficult to win a 2v5 though, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, that's the situation you absolutely want to be in. You come in fearing a player, you get the chance to make an unfair trade. It's the perfect thing when you're on offense. Gangsters, we've got 2 Chatband members remaining. They still look they're up for a scrap, no weapons to lose, but it's going to be a clean ace, a flawless round for the Gangsters.
Yeah, and that's an incredible start for them, absolutely. But to do something so bullish on the first round, it's almost like you're selling it down, being like this. Oh, it's this kind of game, is it? So yeah, we're seeing now Chatband obviously adjust slightly. They're going to be kind of stacking more towards the A side of the map, which again, a little bit risky biscuits considering that all it takes is a bit of control now on B. Spike can be instantaneously planted. I'd say they should at least have maybe the Cypher staying on B, with a little bit of the intel utility getting used there. But okay, we're already seeing, there we go, a very quick rotation as they realise that rush isn't coming through again. So good reactions there from Chatband.
Yes, a very different approach into the second round for the Gangsters squad. You can see, yeah, the Chatband, they've already they're keeping most of their members up towards spawn to give them the greatest flexibility to respond to a big attack on either point.
Yeah, absolutely. And positioning is everything, especially when you're majority of the maps they only have 2 sites, so it is a lot more flexible and fluid to kind of go between the two. But it's those individual structures of the mid map that gets a bit tricky with some of the maps. But I think this is a decent one, especially for defense. Can get a little bit more fluid. Nice little trade coming through there. Nello picking up a second one, and Leary also picking up Mary. And wow, it's already a 1v4 left. Gangsters are really coming into this looking very, very, very spicy.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be swarming all over the B
30
site.
seconds left.
For Spadoka, the last one standing for the Chatband squad. They've got, again, very little to lose. Only the Sheriff the chance of using that hand cannon, getting the kill through, but no good. At least it's not a flawless round for Gangsters, but it's only one different.
Yeah, absolutely. And going into the third round, they're like, okay, so we went from a full rush, and then we ended up in like a 1v4, and maybe we just need to keep whittling it down and trying different things until we do get a bit more of an even round. But I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because what it looks like is that Gangsters are kind of alternating between these rush strategies and then being a little bit more split out to kind of keep Chatband on their toes a little bit. And I think it's always tricky this start of round because you never really know what the attackers are going to do, and it is all about just reacting to those initial 30 seconds.
Spike down A.
Mary does finally manage to get the kill in. So, of course, Lorena, they've got the chance to pop off. Nello does get 2 back in to bring us even, but Gangsters finally showing some signs of weakness here as they get ripped up on the A site.
Yeah, absolutely. Chatband's starting to, the energy is starting to kick in. They're warmed up a little bit now, and they're not willing to go down without a fight.
So 2 remaining. We've got good area control for the Gangsters, but Slicey is now off the field. Mary is finally arrived as Pingerly closes out the round. That's a solid reply from Chatband.
Absolutely, and they didn't even get the chance to plant the spike this time. It was denying that objective. And I think that is always a very positive benefit, because it's like I was saying yesterday, as soon as they get that spike down, you're essentially, you're playing against one extra player. The time is the sixth player almost. So if you can, prevent that spike from being planted, keep the timer running in the favor of the defense, that certainly helps with your nerves, helps you keep your cool, helps you make those more logical decisions and get into a better positioning as well.
So Gangsters coming into this round with the Killjoy ult active. So if they get onto one of these sites, they will be able to force it out. Mary, one away from bringing up the Empress ultimate as well. So she's got a big chance of going off here, being forced by the flashbang. Just don't know if Gangsters know for certain she was there, but Mary's not taking the chance, backing off.
Yeah, but it looks like they're actually going to try and hunt her down a little bit. Mary gets one. She gets a little bit of a heal, and the way Spadoka's going to pick up a second by taking down Nello. But ultimately, Slicey is going to shut down Mary before she can even think about going on a little bit of a rampage. They're going to try and push onto A site, but, the defense is reacting to it also, so they have to try and stop this spike from getting planted. So utility should come through, and well, there we go. Gangsters for a cheeky 2k onto Pinkley and Spadoka. Dana's going to trade it out though onto Klar. It's a 2v2 situation counterfeit.
The plant is coming in. Slicey with a fantastic round so far on the breach. Jududu, even while stunned, gets the kill. The spike carrier is down. It's a 1v1, but no, I think Jududu was changing out weapon there. Unfortunate timing. It means that that's another round into the Gangster squad.
Yeah, a really nice 4k there by Slicey too. Slow and steady does win the race sometimes. Sometimes you can see players, they don't really go into a state of panic. You don't see them darting about manically across their screen. You just see them kind of pull back a little bit and be like, okay, I just gotta wait for them to push me. And that's what happens 9 times out of 10.
Alright, so reset time for Chat Band. They have managed to stretch as far as bringing a Marshal in for Spadoka, so they're not completely on pistols in this round, but they're still feeling the pressure from the Gangster squad, who this time look like they're going to stay a little bit further back and keep Chat Band pinned down.
Yeah, a little bit. We're seeing some pre-fires here, there, and everywhere just to see if they can catch anyone off guard, or at least let people know, hey, you can't push this, we're holding this, we're getting that control. Chat Band pushing from mid into B, though. A little bit risky biscuits. They do have the high ground, but as we've seen happen many a time, people can just hide, and well, no, Pinkley's not going to do a very good job at hiding. It's going to fall to Ninu. Judu is actually going to trade that out almost immediately, though, so again, it's not really too balanced either way right now.
Yeah, it's surprising, but Lyra is going to be able to even up the numbers just a little bit. Then from up on high, manages to bring it down to 1 member remaining. But last one standing, last one to fall. What a great round for Chat Band.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, I think this is hopefully where we're going to start seeing these rounds go very trade by trade by trade. It's not going to be as significantly weighted on either side. I think this is where both teams, they're kind of like, okay, we've got our heads in the game now. Let's give it our all. We're nice and warmed up now.
I mean, I believe if I'm not forgetting exactly how it all played out, that was an eco round for Chat Band. They were able to win there, just coming in with the Marshal. So now with full equipment into the round, Gangsters need to be a little bit careful here as they come charging in towards the A site. Chat Band seem like they're ready. Dana gets the triple! Gangsters just got turned inside out.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous work there by Dana, doing significant work for Chat Band. It's now a 2v5 situation. They still have to get the spike down too, so well, there we go. It's now a flawless round for Chat Band. Very solid defense coming through there, and yeah, significant plays there by Dana that really turned the round on its head.
Oh my gosh, that was ridiculous. Fantastic use of the ult there. I mean, it's so hard to deny that showstopper when it comes to calling, especially if, like the Gangsters, you're willing to heavily stack up to take a point.
Absolutely, and I don't think Chat Band are going to be feeling too shabby about that. I think there's going to be a lot of high vibe from how that round went, especially as you say, considering it was a little bit of an econ round beforehand, and then they were only allowed to, truly spend some credits then, and it paid off completely well for them.
Alright, so where do the gangsters go next? Looks to be advancing up the mid. We've seen this, as I mentioned before, go pretty badly, and here we go! There's some more breach action to keep the mid exciting. Dana does get dropped, so gangsters, they drop their route onto the B site, but Pinkley comes through massively on the Cypher, gets the spike carrier down. Doesn't look like gangsters are willing to give up the fight.
One enemy remaining.
Oh my goodness, and just the guesswork coming through there from Judo to try and shoot through that cover, getting a cheeky little 2K there. We do love to see it. Such little information to go off when your line of sight is so blocked like that, but fair play.
So now coming into the 8th round, Chat Band in the lead with both Mary and Dana, the 2 carries, with the kills in a pocket. They've both been pulling out some substantial plays so far, but we're coming into a round now with 7 different ultimates available.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I just want to touch on a point we said earlier where Mary only needed about, 1 or 2 kills to actually become the player with the highest kills for this season so far. And I think she's certainly, outdone herself here. A perfect 1 kill per round average. So that's really good going. And again, most likely the player with the highest kills right now.
Jajini's going to do their best to try and make up some ground on the Astra of all agents. The gangsters, they started out so strongly. Now they look like they're in major trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like Chat Band have fully adapted to whatever the attack was bringing to them. And what I have noticed too is they're certainly being a lot more fluid with their positioning and those reactions. As soon as they get an inkling of where that push is coming from, they don't all immediately rush. It's a really nice stack up towards those attackers. And again, they're taking a bit more time to be a bit more patient with it and just kind of allowing for the players to fall into their lines of sight instead of just being a bit too hyper aggressive when they don't really need to be.
And no surprise at all, see the gangsters dropping the timeout in. They definitely feel like they need a reset with 3 rounds dropped in a row. Something's got to change.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing that could be quite interesting is I think it was yesterday. Was it Project X that did it? Where they did the Viper bait with the ult.
Oh yes, that was incredible.
I'd love to see something like that again. I'd absolutely love to see something like that again. Do I think it's going to happen on this map? Realistically, no. I don't know, which utility they'd end up trying to use to bait something like that. I think, Viper's utility is way more useful for something like that because of how big, a lot of her abilities and ults can be. It really does lead you into a false sense of, oh my gosh, they're completely rushing here and they're rushing the objective. So again, I'm curious to see if we might have anything like that, but realistically, I don't think it's going to happen. There's too much situational utility with the way that these lineups are, and again, it's something that I think you need to have something a little bit more spacious, shall I put it?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is what we're hoping to see from each of these teams, though. These moments of brilliance, the plays that stick with you and stick with those players for a long time. For the gangsters, they've had their time out. We should, hopefully, for them, see a different approach coming in to round 9.
I think again, both sides are starting to be a little bit patient now because I think it's edging closer and closer to that halfway point. So we're seeing a little bit more patience. Because of that, we are about to see potentially a large showdown around this B site now.
Sudoku managing to trade the kill back means it's still up in the air. Nice use of the killjoy from gangsters to open up the site, but now they have to try and keep it. The plant is good. Chat Band will have to try and go for the retake. Mary's way off the point right now. This could be gangsters round.
Absolutely, 3v3, and you do have that spike firmly down and planted. A little trade's gonna go. Oh!
I feel like we've seen that play before.
It's just Clara that raise. Like, honestly, I've said this before, but Clara on that raise, it is a a fortunate situation to be in. Mary, though, at the 2K, she's going to stick the defuse. Can Clara react to it, though? We have said, there we go. Of course she does. She gets it. Attackers winning round number 9.
Oh my gosh. So, yeah, so Dana and Clara have both managed to put in quadra kill rounds thanks to that showstopper. Both on the raise, both now with some pretty impressive score lines. I'm amazed. At the end there, I was certain Mary was going to salvage the round.
I thought maybe if Clara didn't realize or didn't think that perhaps the defuse was going down, there might have been a bit of awkwardness there. Again, I think there's a lot of patience coming through from both sides where they are just holding angles occasionally, and I was worried that Clara was just going to try and do a bit of that, which we've seen teams do it so much like over the last year or so of Valorant. So it's been about a year actually, hasn't it, Valorant? Yeah, it's been about a year. Nearly a year?
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Certainly, we've had the teams here for a little while as well, developing across. As you mentioned, both of these teams before, with history in the competition for the Gangsters squad, putting in some pretty impressive performances as they try and come back into this game. They seem to be two well-matched teams as Mary grabs hold of that first kill. Looking for more. She's going to find it, but perhaps a bit more than she was hoping for.
Absolutely, Chad Band now in a 2v4, but they haven't quite... I was going to say, they haven't quite planted the spike yet, but there we go. The spike is going down. We're going to see a bit of a pre-fire through this cover from Judy right now, but again, timer is starting to tick down, and they have to get these picks, and they have to go for the defuse, so it's all to play for, and time is slowly but surely running out.
The Gangsters controlling access to the A site spectacularly well. So Chat Band, they're still going to decide to go in any way. Pinkerly gets torn up, and Slicey grabs a second as well. Gangsters are back even again, and perhaps that timeout was enough to get them back in the right headspace.
I mean, absolutely, yeah, it seems like that, doesn't it? Bit of a tactical timeout to have a bit of a breather, refocus. They've come in and got 2 more rounds in a row to even it up. Even Stevens, it's what we like to see. And again, we do expect it at this point. We do expect it with these rosters. They are just so evenly matched at times that it can get a little bit sweaty, a little bit close to the nail. And we did see this yesterday as well. And I'm expecting 100% for us to see it today.
So dead even so far. We're going back to the start again as Gangsters force push on it to the A site. Mary is there to meet them, but doesn't want to go up against all 5 of the Gangsters squad once again. Our previous tournament finalists, the Gangsters, they have taken possession of the A site, and Chapman has nothing to say about it.
Spike planted.
Absolutely not. That I'm kind of completely shut off from this site. The full site control has been taken by Gangsters, so naturally the plant will go down. Nice little trade coming through there. Literally actually getting significant picks there. And again, whittling down that defense further and further. Mary on the flank, however, I'm unsure if they're aware of her positioning. And no, they're not. Mary's going to get 1. Can she get a second? And a third and a fourth. Only time can tell. Clark is going to shut her down, however. So there we go. Attackers winning once again. Gangsters, they're looking very strong now.
Last round before the
Yeah, I mean, I keep waiting. Mary has got the most kills in the game so far, but she, we're really waiting to see that one round where she really just takes over the entire thing by herself. So far, Gangsters have managed to, keep Mary to merely good, not mind-blowingly game-taking overly strong.
I think as well, like it is certainly helping that, they're on I'd say this map is really helping them in a way because, on both sides, because there's less kind of compact feeling choke points to deal with. It's a way more flexible choke that both teams have to deal with. So again, this is probably why we're seeing so much utility get burnt out in the early rounds more than anything. And we've seen this probably yesterday where it was going to get squiffy for some of the teams. And ooh, Mary!
There we go. So Mary manages to find the kill without being traded back. Gangsters now have to try and make their advance with 1 less member and a little bit of damage onto Lilia as well. The res is burned. Gangsters, of course, and Chatband have no reason to hold anything back as Mary is traded out. Nello drops. Pinkley is, I think, going to drop through the ult though as well to get that extra intel.
30 seconds left.
Raze versus Raze, but only one Raze can come out on top, so there we go. And Duka's also going to fall to Slicey. Slicey's going to get a second onto Dana. Can they get site control? Yes, they can. Now the plant will go down. They get, oh, Pinkley getting the pick onto Nunu, picking off Slicey as well. Time is running out. They have to stick this plant. A little bit spicy, a little bit risky biscuits. A 2v1, plant is down, and there we go. Pinkley can get the pick. That spike can be defused, and that is a round going once again back to the favor of Chatban.
So 2 teams with revenge on their minds coming into today's competition. 2 teams who apparently exceptionally well matched. 6 rounds apiece going into the pistol round. Slicey joining Mary on 12 kills so far. I think we're in for a treat.
Oh, absolutely. But again, like I can't deal sometimes with how strong a player some of these players are, and I think the interesting thing is obviously yes, Chatband are now moving on to attack, and you know 9 times out of 10 the maps are defender sided, but if you've got a bit of an entry coming through from someone like Mary, that is a little bit spooky to go up against as a defense. So I am expecting again lots of standard kind of block utility by the book playing, just to allow a little bit more freedom in the early round to prevent any kind of immediate sweaty rush from her.
So Gangsters, as I said, on defense. We'll see what their approach to defense will be. Remember, of course, last time around they did focus all of their resources onto a single point to get the early success, though it ultimately long term didn't work out for them in quite the same level of dominance they started. No,
certainly. And, you know, about a minute or so left on the clock and no opening pick yet, Counterfeit.
That's pretty shocking given how violent things have been so far in the opening game.
But you know, it's interesting because again, it's the first round of this half, and I think both teams want to be a bit patient. Slow and Steady wins the race, and well, Ninu's certainly helping her team to win the race here, but she is finally shut down by Jududu, and it's a 2v2 situation.
We've got Mary on the other side of that wall, though. Takes down Slicey, the highest performer, gets a second as well. This is the Mary we came to see.
Absolutely, and you know, it's all left down to Klar now, but I think she can guess. Yep, she certainly can. She's guessing for that push into B, and well, there we are. Mary is actually going to get taken down by Klar. It's a 1v1. The spike still needs to be planted, and she's wide open. Klar can take a few of these pot shots. She's going to send out some utility, and there we go. Clutching this out for her team. Gangsters winning their first round on defense.
Oh my gosh, so we came into this one looking at Mary, but we've got plenty of other players vying for our attention. Klar comes through clutch when Slicey falls down and moves in to third most frags in the round. We're starting to see a big separation, actually, for the Chatband squad. Mary's popping out ahead, but Gangsters, they've got 2 members with more than 10 kills.
Yeah, but again, it's just Klar on that race. Like, honestly, I just don't think... I feel like it would be interesting to see how Klar is on perhaps, you know, other agents maybe in the following maps, but I am expecting her to just stick on that Raze. She's so good at playing Raze, and I think it's very much a comfort choice for her because she fits perfectly into the way that a Raze should be played, and it just comes so naturally to her. So yeah, a significant player when it comes to Raze, definitely, and has been consistently for a few seasons now.
Alright, so let's see what Chatband can do here to get back into things. They're actually going to try and sneak through mid, but Slicey takes down Mary very early on into the round. That's going to send out some pretty big alarm bells for the Chatband team.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, losing their aggressive entry, having to now rely mostly on their own Raze of Dana. I mean, we've seen Dana pop off before, and well... Oh my goodness gracious me, the crossfire there, the teamwork and the crossfire coming through from Gangsters. Holding those two lines of sight together. Nino and Ninu just absolutely cleaning up the rest of the team of Chatband.
Oh my gosh, that is utterly crazy. I suppose it was something of a desperation play. The Gangsters, they're going to be sticking with their SMG, so it's very much a bonus round for them. For Chatband, they're coming into this one much better armed, so this will be their chance to get back into this second half.
Absolutely, you know, I do respect sometimes when people do want to go for a bit of a rush, but if the people are holding angles like that, you do just kind of end up just conga lining into their line of sight.
Oh, it's a dance of death!
A.
And Chatband are coming out the worst for it. Gangsters up 3 members. Mary is still in play. And of course, benefiting from all of that siphon health. It seems like for Chatband, they're going to move the spike across to B, though, where they're going to run across Nell's Killjoy, who, of course, has filled up the B site with as many toys as possible.
Most certainly, but you know, this sneaky little flank is coming through here. I think that, are they going to push up mid again? Yes, they are, and they just
found a way
essentially
through.
Yes, indeed. That, you know, they just have to try and find their way through onto the B site. But you know, there is lurking in the shadows, ever so silently, Nell is just waiting with the flank underneath the B site. So, oh wait, no, they're actually rotating back to A. I mean, this is a bit awkward because it's obviously they're in a, they know they're in a, you know, well, 2vx, 1vx situation now, and it sometimes is difficult to make the right call as to where you want to go. You've got to try and guess where a majority of that utility is, and if the defense are rotating, and there we go, Gangster's picking up another defensive round. But I think if they committed potentially to that push to B, that could have gone a completely different way. I think they would have had the extra player advantage by pushing to B, but I think that they assumed that the defense had rotated and that they maybe could catch them off guard a little bit by just rushing back to A suddenly. But nope, Gangsters ever waiting and patient like a python in the grass.
Well, I mean, right now, yeah, for Chatband, I'm honestly fascinated by, you know, I felt like maybe it was some 5G thinking that was going on there to go back towards the A site. I think they maybe assumed that Gangsters would think they, you know, the Chatband had to be going towards B and so would divert their resources. Ultimately, wasn't the case. So Chatband are now languishing 6-9. They need to make up some serious ground, but they don't have the equipment to do it.
And there we are once again, Raze versus Raze with Clark coming out on top.
Spike down.
Sudoku also falling for Clark, though. Clark with a third one, taking down Dududu. Absolutely on a tear this round. Can she do any more damage?
Yeah, I'm getting a better and better appreciation for the power of the Raze. There's 2 quadra kills so far in the game off of the Raze pick. And the Gangsters, they are just taking Chatband to pieces in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mary to pick onto Ninu, though. I mean, realistically, if anyone's going to win like a 1v5, potentially Mary. But again, it's this idea of slow and steady wins the race. You've really got to wait for them to push you and maybe make a bit of a slip up. It looks like Mary might be slowly sneaking herself to the... Oh, wait, no, I was going to say sneaking to the A side, but she does not have the spike, so she is going to have to go and contest. She's going to have to go for these kills and get these picks if her team have any chance of winning this round out.
I think she's going to get full rush. And yes, Mary, I think maybe hoping to catch one of the Gangsters members trying to defend the spike, but instead just became another victim as Gangsters move into their 10th round win. They have looked so confident after switching to defense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they just... It's as you say, it's like they do seem confident. They do seem like it's not a stress to them at all. And again, perhaps there's a little bit of overthinking coming through from the side of Chatband, because, you know, we are seeing them go for these rotates that would work, but then we see them kind of bail out last minute. And again, I am just wondering how much that overthinking is maybe costing them the rounds. And maybe it's like, if you get the first idea, just commit to it maybe and see what happens.
Yeah, it's so hard to know, isn't it? In the context of the game, we have this overview. We know what the right and wrong decisions will be as they come in, but For Chatband, it does seem like right now they are struggling. I mean, they've got the Cypher to be able to provide that little bit of extra intel defensively, but offensively, it's seeming like they're struggling to get down those cameras where they need to be to figure out exactly what the gangsters are up to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even now we're in this very weird stalemate situation where there's less than a minute on the clock and no immediate collapses come through. We are going to start seeing a bit of utility get dumped towards the A site and potentially a flank up towards Heaven. But, well, actually, no, it looks like they're just straight dipping towards the site now, covering a little bit, sending that Reyna up to Heaven so that spike can be planted there by Spadoka.
Clara being taken out is big news, but Gangsters will blow the res to make sure she stays in play. So far, it's been all about the Gangsters in this second half. They're all over the A site. And the plot has been made. Holy moly, Gangsters come through huge. Clara is still alive, newly rezzed and out for blood.
And again, the spike is counting slowly and slowly more down and down. Clark's gonna get one, but shut down by Mary, of course. Of all people, Mary ready and waiting. That is not a sight you want to see. I mean, it's good that they managed to kind of pull one back there, to be honest, especially in terms of their econ.
Oh yeah, I mean, Gangsters were on a ridiculous streak coming into that round. So for Chatband, yeah, they still got to deal with a Gangsters squad who come into this round very well armed and even with some spare money in the bank. Mary gets the first blood, taking down Clara. No res this time around. Though Mary did take a bunch of damage in the last exchange. For Chatband, they have a chance to set themselves up again. They can win this round. Gangsters' economy will be a lot more hurt.
I still feel like I'm just wanting to be a bit spoilt with a little very, very obvious insane bait right now, but it's not quite coming through. Pinkley and Mary, however, are going to clean up two of the members of Gangsters, and they're going to retaliate by sending Slicey on a little 2k before she's shut down by Dana. A 1v3 situation.
Well, I don't know. Gets the first part of that three-part equation. But Chatband, they are rushing the spike onto the B side. No, I think it's going to struggle to get there in time because they have to play this so much more carefully. If they go round the corner without being able to scout out properly, they are instantly dead.
Spike planted.
Spike
I
is
think
good.
this is what I
Wall is
mean
there.
by... Yeah, this is what I mean by, like, kind of slow and steady wins the race there. I think Ninu, you know, she's not making any kind of immediate rush. She's been biding her time. She's peeking these angles very slowly to make sure that, you know, obviously in this situation you do have to face check, so it is just making sure that you are not making any mistakes, not leaving yourself too open. And, well, there we go.
Oh! That was almost... It was almost.
It's one of those things, isn't it, where it's like such a perfect stack up because, you know, if the player has to only shoot one of you, and it really relies on the teamwork of both of you reacting at the same time to actually make sure that that trade can come through. So that could have gone badly, though. That really could have gone badly if the reaction didn't come through when it did.
I was just waiting. I was looking at that. I mean, all credit to Nino there. You know, they didn't panic at all at seeing those two players. They almost had to transfer from one to another, and what a glorious thing that would have been. Alright, so in round 19, Gangsters taking a little bit of hurting as Chatman looked to try and draw even once again. We've got the push up. Currently the spike being held in mid. It looks like the Gangsters not quite sure where the attack's going to come from, and Chatman are keeping their options open.
Swarm grenade out.
Initial exchange of utility doesn't get any kills through, but Pinkley does drop as Spadoka as well. Gangsters with a strong defense there means they actually get control of the spike.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's not just sometimes thinking about your push around the site to go for that collapse and execute. It's, oh gosh, we've left the spike all the way in mid and we have to go back for it now
30
without
seconds
dying
left.
and then work out where our collapse and execute is going to come from.
That's quite a big ask for chat band here. I don't think they at all anticipated losing multiple members before the play even really began. Fires, of course, arrive. Here comes the showstopper. Could be a double right now. Clark gets one and almost finished off.
left.
Mary is still up and fighting. Gets the kill, but there's the buddy system. Nino comes through for the gangsters.
Absolutely, and, it's getting very, very close to the end now for gangsters. You just got to snuffle up 2 more rounds, and they have won this map out. And again, for chat band, that's going to be feeling, pretty intense. The pressure's going to be there.
I think it's, having so much of your play evaporate. It's going to be very tough to deal with, but at least for chat band, they do come into this round with 4 ults available, and of course, I think our favorite from this game so far, the showstopper is online for chat band's Dana.
I mean, again, I do think these teams are very evenly matched, and again, we need to remember this is Gangsters map pick, so 9 times out of 10, you expect a team to win their map pick. Certainly, it would be worrying actually. I think if Gangsters were slightly ahead right now.
I know exactly where you are.
We have got Cypher coming through, so a little bit of extra information going to make it very hard to make any kind of play while that Ron's running. Very much like the Killjoy. Speaking of Killjoy, there's one from the Gangsters. They're looking to empty out the A side. Dana gets 1 kill off the ult, looking to try and move further through. Killjoy is going to pop. He has detained 3 players because chat band are unwilling to give ground.
Absolutely, the diffuser is going to get stuck, and there we go. Defenders clutching that out, and even we're seeing those trades come through.
Oh my lord, what was that? Chat band came in after the play was already done.
I don't know what
triple
just
killed.
happened.
I have to assume there's some miscommunication there for the chat band as well, because that felt very out of time with what was going on, and to lose all of your weaponry as well at the tail end of that, it's atrocious news.
Yeah, that felt more like an act of frustration than anything. And it's going to be a costly act at that, to be honest. But, Slicey starting off this match point round with the pick in the favour of Gangsters. So again, this is where we need to see this teamwork come through from chat band. We need to see them push together. We need to see people, relatively close together, so there can be someone there for the refrag. And while we're certainly going to get that, Mary is going to be entering with 2 of the other members following slowly behind her. And again, it is just all about trying to make sure they are working together and going for the refrag. And there we go. Mary is going to fall to Cloud, but no one is swinging out really for the refrag. And that's just going to be a free pick for the side of Gangsters, really.
Yeah, it's just, it's showing Gangsters have got chat band's number in this game. And what a way to end out our first game of the semi-finals. 1 more kill required, but I think you're very right. Gangsters feel like they've absolutely got into the heads of chat band, and winning out this convincingly has got to have an impact on game 2 as well.
Absolutely, but going into map number 2, it will be chat band's map. So